Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. Parsha Shlach, as we spoke a couple days ago, this is the portion where we read about the spies that Moses sends to find the best way to conquer the land of Israel. What would be the most strategic way? But yet, instead of deciding the most strategic way, they come back and they tell Moses, we're not going to be able to do this. It's impossible. Tomorrow we'll discuss the view of the spies and how they failed so miserably. What were they thinking? Because they were great people. But today I want to speak about one of the verses that they said, and one of the most beautiful quotes that the Rebbe teaches us. They come back and they're trying to persuade the people that this is not going to work. So the 10 spies get up. Of course, 2 of them disagreed, but the 10 that got up said, we came to the land and we saw they have fortified cities, and we saw it's a land that consumes its inhabitants. And then they said, and we saw ourselves in our eyes as grasshoppers compared to the giants, and so did they view us. There were giants there, and what the spies were saying were that we felt like grasshoppers in their eyes, and that's how they viewed us. Hasidic masters tell us something so beautiful that the Rebbe elaborates on. Listen to the words. They say, we felt like grasshoppers in their eyes, and that's how they viewed us. Says the Rebbe, when you feel like grasshoppers, that's how you're viewed by others. It's such a powerful lesson, such a clear lesson. Maybe simple, but very deep. Sometimes we wonder why people look at us a certain way. And the answer really is because that's how we feel about ourselves. If you have no confidence in who you are, in what you do, in what you believe, in what God wants for you, then how do you expect others to view you? And that's what the message they were sending, which the Torah especially enumerates for us, that we should understand. And we should be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, who are we? What do we feel about ourselves? There's even more. They say there was fortified cities, right? Say the rabbis, they said, oh, they're so strong, their cities are fortified. But really that was a weakness. Because people that fortify their cities are fortifying their cities because they're scared. People that are really strong don't need to fortify their cities. The same is true. They said it's a land that consumes its inhabitants. Rashi says that God made it that the people in the land were busy burying their dead, so they didn't have time to see the spies. But they saw it as a negative. How you view things is how you're viewed. You could look at being proud and strong, or you could be meek and weak. We don't need anything more than to understand the connection of this to the times we live in. We're living in extremely dangerous and challenging times for the Jewish community and for those who love Israel and the Jewish people. And many times people say to me, Rabbi, what should I do? Look how small we are. And look how the world views us. And I always say the first thing to making sure the world views you correctly is to view yourself correctly. Be proud, be strong, be articulate, be confident in what you're saying. When someone tells you about stolen land, say, stolen land? God gave this to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob. Joshua conquered the land 3,000 years ago, before there were any Palestinians, before there were any British. If are you not able to articulate your message, and how do you expect others to see you? And the same is true when people tell you, oh, but Israel, look how many people are dying. And you have to be able to be confident and clear and articulate and understand the issue and say, of course it's painful that people are dying. But we don't have a choice. We're trying to protect ourselves, and they're hiding among civilians. The Torah is telling us the most powerful lesson, that if we're going to view ourselves like grasshoppers, that's how the world's going to view us. And the first way to change is to change the way you view yourself. And then another thought, and this goes back to the fortified cities and the way we view ourselves. You know, my first cousin wrote this remarkable book about the Rebbe. It's called Positivity Bias. We're coming up in 10 days to the Rebbe's 30th yahrzeit, and I'll be speaking a lot about the Rebbe's teachings and what he taught us. But my friend said something like this in the book. You know, the Rebbe said that we all have biases towards our family, towards our work, towards our homes, towards our friends, right? But we have to make sure that our bias is towards positive. Always view things, be biased to see things in a positive way. And I'll give you 2 examples of something the Rebbe did which was so beautiful. In Hebrew, the way you say a hospital is Bet Cholim, which is a house of the sick. The Rebbe said we can't call it Bet Cholim, we have to call it Bet Refuah, the house of healing. You say it's a simple word. He says, yeah, but it changes your mindset. Instead of seeing it as a place for sick people, see it as a place where people get healed. See things in a positive bias. And the second thing is, back in the 70s, there was this new organization that was called Nechei Tzahal, and which Nechei means the handicapped of Israel. And it was meant for those who were handicapped in the war. Some lost hands and arms and legs, and heaven forbid, tremendous sacrifice they gave for their country. And they were a group that came to America. And one of the places they went was to see the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, and has talked to them, that they shouldn't be called Nechei Tzahal, which means the handicapped of Israel, but they should be called Mitzuyanei Tzahal, the exemplary of Israel. They're not handicapped. They made the most tremendous sacrifice for the people. They're the most remarkable people. And I remember there's a story of one of the soldiers who was there and had lost both of his legs in the war. And when he came by the Rebbe looked at him and said, thank you for your sacrifice and service for the Jewish people. And he said that it was the first time he felt comfortable and proud after he was injured in the war that had just finished. It was right after, I think, the Yom Kippur War. And he said that till now, people just looked at me with pity. I didn't want pity. I wanted people to see the sacrifice I made for our people, for our country. I wanted pride. I didn't want pity. You think about all the people that have made so much sacrifice now for the Jewish people, for Israel. Every day we hear of tragedies. We see so many people injured. Just last night, so many Israeli soldiers were injured in Judea and Samaria. We have to recognize their heroism. They're not handicapped. They're the exemplary of Israel. And we have to thank them for their heroic sacrifice they made for the people. We have to see things in the positivity bias. And we have to know that as long as we don't see ourselves as grasshoppers, so will no one else see us. God bless you. Have a great day.